Grace knelt beside the small fire, stirring the pot of rice and beans with a long wooden spoon. The smoke rose into her face and made her eyes water, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. This was how she fed her family. This was how she kept her younger brother and sister in school. This was all she had. The sun was already hot even though it was only 10 in the morning. Sweat ran down her back and soaked through her old pink blouse. Her wrapper was tied tight around her waist, stained with oil and smoke from months of cooking on the roadside. She had been doing this for 3 years now, ever since her parents died in that terrible accident. 3 years of waking up at 4 in the morning to prepare food. 3 years of standing by the road, shouting at drivers to stop and buy. 3 years of pain that never went away. Rice and beans. Hot food. Come and buy, she called out as cars passed by. Most of them didn't even slow down. They just drove past like she was invisible. A young man on a motorcycle stopped and bought 2 plates. A woman with a baby bought 1. Grace wrapped the food carefully in leaves and collected the money. Every coin mattered. Every single coin. Then she heard it. The sound of a big car slowing down. She looked up and saw a black Range Rover pulling to the side of the road. Her heart jumped a little. Big cars meant rich people, and rich people sometimes bought plenty of food at once. The door opened and a man stepped out. He was tall, well-dressed in a white shirt and black trousers that looked like they cost more than everything she owned. His shoes were shiny. His watch caught the sunlight. He looked completely out of place standing on the dusty roadside. Grace stood up quickly and wiped her hands on her wrapper. "Good morning, sir. You want to buy food?" He looked at her for a moment, then at the pots of rice and beans, then back at her. "Yes. Give me 1 plate." She served him quickly, her hands shaking a little. Men like this didn't usually stop at places like hers. They ate in big restaurants with air conditioning and clean tables. She handed him the plate with a spoon and waited. He took 1 spoonful, then another. Then he looked at her with surprise in his eyes. "This is very good." Grace felt something warm in her chest. "Thank you, sir." He ate everything, every single grain of rice. When he finished, he asked, "How much?" 200 naira, sir." He pulled out his wallet and gave her 1,000 naira. Grace's eyes went wide. "Sir, I don't have change for this." "Keep it," he said simply. She wanted to argue, but the words died in her throat. 1,000 naira was a lot of money to her. It could buy books for her brother. It could pay part of the house rent. "Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir." He nodded and walked back to his car. But before he got in, he turned around. "What's your name?" "Grace, sir." "Grace," he repeated, like he was trying to remember it. "I'm Michael." Then he got into his car and drove away. Grace stood there holding the money, watching the car disappear down the road. Her heart was still beating fast. Something about the way he looked at her made her feel strange. Not uncomfortable. Just seen. Like he actually saw her as a person, not just a poor girl selling food by the road. She shook her head and went back to her cooking. Rich men came and went. They said nice things and gave big tips and then forgot you the moment they drove away. She had learned not to hope for anything from people like that. But the next day, the same black Range Rover pulled up again. And the man called Michael stepped out again. This time he was wearing a blue shirt, but his smile was the same. 1 plate of rice and beans, he said. Grace's hands trembled as she served him. Why did he come back? There were hundreds of food sellers in the city. Why her small roadside spot? He ate slowly this time, like he was thinking about something. When he finished, he paid her again with more money than the food cost. "You cook very well, Grace," he said. "Thank you, sir." He stood there for a moment like he wanted to say something else, but then he just nodded and left. Grace watched him go, her mind full of questions she was afraid to ask. Michael came back the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that too. Every morning at exactly 10 o'clock, his car would pull up and he would buy 1 plate of rice and beans. Always 1 plate. Always the same smile. Always the same kind eyes. Grace didn't know what to think anymore. She started preparing extra food just in case he came, and he always did. Other customers began to notice. The motorcycle taxi riders who usually bought from her started teasing her. "Grace, that's your husband coming, oh," they would shout when they saw his car approaching. She would shake her head and pretend to be annoyed, but inside her heart would start beating faster. After 2 weeks, Michael came with something new. A brand new cooking stove. Not the small rusty one she had been using, but a proper big stove with 3 burners. Grace stared at it in shock. "Sir, I cannot accept this." "Why not?" he asked calmly. Because I don't know you like that. I cannot collect such expensive things from you." Michael set the stove down gently beside her cooking area. "Grace, I'm not asking you for anything. I just want to help. Your old stove is spoiling your health with all that smoke. This one is better." "But sir—" "My name is Michael," he interrupted softly. "Not sir. Just Michael." She looked at him, really looked at him this time. His eyes were honest. He didn't look at her the way other men did, like she was something to use and throw away. He looked at her like she mattered. "Why are you doing this?" she asked quietly. "Why do you keep coming here?" Michael was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Because I like you, Grace. I like the way you work hard. I like the way you smile at your customers even when you're tired. I like the way you pray before you start cooking every morning. I've been watching you for 2 weeks now, and I can't stop thinking about you." Grace's heart dropped to her stomach. No, this couldn't be happening. She took a step back and wrapped her arms around herself. "Sir, Michael, you don't understand. I'm not the kind of woman you should be interested in. Look at me. Look at where I am. I sell food on the roadside. I don't have education. I don't have money. I don't even have proper clothes. You are a rich man. You should be with rich women who know how to talk like you, who know how to live in your kind of world." "I don't want those women," Michael said firmly. "I want you." Tears filled Grace's eyes. She wanted to believe him. God knows she wanted to believe that someone like him could truly care about someone like her. But life had taught her painful lessons. Life had shown her that when rich men said sweet words to poor girls, it always ended badly. "Please," she whispered. "Please don't do this to me. I cannot afford to lose focus. I have my brother and sister depending on me. I have responsibilities. I cannot play games with my life." Michael moved closer but didn't touch her. "Grace, I'm not playing games. I'm serious about you. Give me a chance to prove it." She shook her head, wiping her tears quickly before other people could see. "I cannot. I'm sorry. Please, just let me be." He stood there for a long moment, pain clear on his face. Then he nodded slowly. "Okay, I won't force you, but I'm not giving up either. I'll keep coming here, and one day, you'll see that I mean what I say." He walked back to his car and drove away. Grace collapsed onto her small stool, her whole body shaking. She didn't know if she was crying because she was afraid or because deep down, a small part of her wanted to say yes. The next morning, she found a bag of rice and beans at her cooking spot. Beside it was a note written in neat handwriting, "For your business." No strings attached. Just a friend helping a friend. Grace held the note to her chest and cried, because she knew she was already falling for him, and that terrified her more than anything else in the world. Grace was stirring the evening pot of beans when her phone rang. She wiped her hands quickly and pulled it from her wrapper pocket. The number on the screen made her freeze. It was her brother's school. "Hello. Is this Grace?" a woman's voice asked urgently. "Yes, I'm Grace. What happened?" "Your brother collapsed during football practice. We've taken him to General Hospital. You need to come now." The phone nearly fell from her hand. What? What do you mean collapsed?" "Just come quickly. The doctors are checking him now." Grace didn't remember closing her pots or packing her things. She didn't remember telling her neighbor to watch her cooking area. All she remembered was running to the road, her heart beating so fast she thought it would burst from her chest. At the hospital, she found her 14-year-old brother Emmanuel lying on a bed in the emergency room. His skin looked pale and his breathing was shallow. Her younger sister Blessing was sitting beside him crying. "What's wrong with him?" Grace grabbed a nurse passing by. "The doctor will explain everything. Please wait." Grace wanted to scream. Wait. How could she wait when her brother was lying there looking half dead? When the doctor finally came, his face was serious. "Your brother has a problem with his appendix. It has burst and we need to operate immediately or infection will spread through his body." "Operate?" Grace felt her legs go weak. "How much will it cost?" 250,000 naira. "And we need to start within the next few hours." The world started spinning. 250,000 naira. She didn't have 2,000 naira in her pocket right now. Everything she earned went to rent, food, and school fees. She had nothing saved. Nothing. Please, doctor, I'm begging you. Start the operation. I'll find the money. I promise I'll find it. The doctor shook his head sadly. I'm sorry. Hospital policy. We cannot start without a deposit of at least half the amount. Grace fell to her knees right there in the hospital corridor. She didn't care who was watching. She didn't care about pride anymore. Her brother was dying and she had no money to save him. She thought of everyone she knew. Her neighbors were as poor as she was. Her relatives in the village had already told her they couldn't help anymore after her parents died. She had nobody. Nobody except. Her hand shook as she pulled out her phone and scrolled through her contacts. She found his number. Michael. The man she had pushed away. The man she had told to leave her alone. She had saved his number from the business card he gave her weeks ago, even though she swore she would never use it. She pressed call before she could change her mind. He answered on the second ring. Grace. Michael, her voice broke. Please. I need help. My brother is dying and I don't have money for the operation. Please. I'm begging you. Which hospital? His voice was sharp and alert now. General Hospital. The one on Allen Avenue. I'm coming right now. Don't worry. Everything will be okay. He cut the call and Grace collapsed against the wall, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. Blessing came and hugged her tightly. Sister Grace, is Emmanuel going to die? No, Grace whispered, holding her sister close. No, he won't die. I won't let him. 30 minutes later, Michael walked into the hospital like a man on a mission. He found Grace sitting on the floor outside the emergency room, her eyes red and swollen from crying. He knelt beside her. Where's the doctor? She pointed with a trembling hand. He stood up and walked straight to the nurse's station, spoke briefly to them, and within minutes the doctor appeared. Grace watched in amazement as Michael pulled out his checkbook and wrote out the full amount right there. 250,000 naira. Just like that. Like it was nothing. Start the operation immediately, he told the doctor. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. As the medical team rushed Emmanuel into the operating theater, Grace stood up slowly. She walked to where Michael was standing, and before she could stop herself, she threw her arms around him and cried into his chest. He held her gently, not saying anything, just holding her while she let out all the fear and pain and relief she had been carrying. Thank you, she whispered between sobs. Thank you. I'll pay you back. I don't know how, but I'll pay every single kobo back. I don't want your money, Grace, he said softly. I just want you to be okay. 3 weeks after Emmanuel's successful operation, Grace finally agreed to have dinner with Michael. Not because she wanted to, but because she felt she owed him something. He had saved her brother's life and refused to take back a single naira. The least she could do was say yes to one meal. But when his driver picked her up that Saturday evening, she realized this wasn't just dinner. They were going to his family house. Grace's stomach twisted with fear. She was wearing her best dress, a simple yellow gown she had bought for her cousin's wedding 2 years ago. It was the nicest thing she owned. But as the car drove through huge gates into a compound that looked like something from a movie, she knew her best wasn't going to be good enough. The house was massive. 3 floors of white paint and glass windows. Gardens with flowers she couldn't name. A fountain in front. Cars that probably cost millions of naira parked in the driveway. Michael was waiting at the entrance. He smiled when he saw her and took her hand gently. You look beautiful. She wanted to run. Every part of her body was screaming at her to run back to her small room and her simple life. But she had already come this far. Inside, the house was even more frightening. Everything looked expensive and breakable. The floors were so shiny she could see her reflection. The chairs looked like they belonged in a museum. She was afraid to touch anything. Michael led her into a large dining room where his family was already seated. His mother sat at one end of the table, dressed in expensive traditional clothes with gold jewelry that probably cost more than Grace would earn in her entire life. His father sat at the other end, reading a newspaper. And a young woman who looked about Grace's age sat beside his mother, scrolling through her phone. Everyone, this is Grace, Michael announced, his voice proud and clear. His mother looked up and her smile died immediately. She looked Grace up and down slowly, her eyes taking in the old yellow dress, the worn shoes, the simple hairstyle. "Good evening, Ma," Grace greeted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Good evening," the woman replied coldly. His sister didn't even look up from her phone. His father just nodded briefly and went back to his newspaper. Michael pulled out a chair for Grace and she sat down carefully, feeling like everyone was watching her every move. A house help brought food. Rice, different types of meat, salad, juice. Grace had never seen so much food for just one meal. "So Grace," Michael's mother began, her voice sweet but her eyes cold like ice. "Michael tells us you sell food." "Yes, Ma. I cook rice and beans." "On the roadside?" "Yes, Ma." The sister finally looked up and laughed. "Michael, you brought a roadside food seller to our house? This is who you're dating." "Patricia, that's enough," Michael said sharply. But Patricia wasn't finished. "No, let me understand. You have been rejecting all the beautiful, educated women we introduced to you. Doctors, lawyers, businesswomen. And you chose someone who cooks on the street." Grace felt tears burning behind her eyes, but she refused to cry. She had known this would happen. She had known they would look down on her. "My son," his mother said carefully, "we are not saying there's anything wrong with honest work. But you must understand. You are the heir to Williams Corporation. You cannot marry just anybody. What will people say? What will our business partners think?" "I don't care what people think," Michael said angrily. "I care about Grace." His father finally put down his newspaper and spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet but powerful. "Let me tell you all something. When I was Grace's age, I was selling pure water on the street. Pure water in the hot sun. That's how I started. So nobody in this house should look down on her because she works hard to feed her family." Everyone went silent. Michael's mother looked shocked. Patricia stopped laughing. The old man looked at Grace kindly. "Young woman, don't let anyone make you feel small because of where you come from. What matters is where you're going. If my son loves you, that's all that matters to me." Grace felt something break inside her chest. She had expected everyone to reject her, but this old man who had built an empire from nothing understood her struggle. "Thank you, sir," she whispered, tears finally rolling down her cheeks. Michael reached under the table and squeezed her hand. But across from them, his mother's face was hard as stone, and Patricia's eyes were full of anger. Grace knew this was just the beginning of the war. Grace was serving her morning customers when she noticed a sleek red car parked across the road. It had been there for almost 30 minutes. The windows were tinted so she couldn't see inside, but something about it made her uncomfortable. She tried to ignore it and focus on her work. Business had been better lately. Michael had helped her buy more cooking pots and a proper canopy so customers could sit and eat comfortably. More people were coming now. Some even said her food was the best in the area. The red car finally drove away and Grace breathed easier. But that evening when Michael came to pick her up, his face looked troubled. "What's wrong?" she asked as she got into his car. He was quiet for a moment, his hands tight on the steering wheel. "Victoria is back." "Victoria? Who is that?" "My ex-fiancée. She's been in London for the past 2 years. I just found out she returned yesterday." Something cold settled in Grace's chest. "You were engaged before." "Yes, but it ended badly. She only wanted my money, not me. When I refused to give her access to my business accounts, she left for London saying she needed to find herself. I thought that chapter was closed. Why are you telling me this now?" Michael looked at her seriously. "Because she called me today. She wants to meet. She says she made a mistake and wants me back." Grace felt like someone had poured cold water over her head. "And what did you tell her?" "I told her I'm with someone else now. I told her about you." "Michael, maybe you should." "No," he interrupted firmly. "Grace, I don't want Victoria. I want you. But I need you to know she's back because she won't give up easily. She's not the kind of person who accepts rejection." Grace nodded slowly, but her heart was heavy. She had always known this relationship was too good to be true. Now reality was coming to destroy it. The next day, Victoria showed up at Grace's roadside spot. She stepped out of that same red car wearing a white dress that probably cost more than Grace's entire cooking business. Her skin was light and smooth. Her hair was long and perfect. Her jewelry caught the sunlight. She looked like she had just walked out of a magazine. Grace felt her confidence die immediately. "So you're Grace," Victoria said, looking around at the cooking pots and plastic chairs with disgust on her face. "You're the girl who thinks she can replace me." Grace stood up slowly, wiping her hands on her apron. "I don't know you, and I'm not trying to replace anybody. If you want to buy food, I'll serve you. If not, please leave." Victoria laughed, a sharp cold sound. "Buy food from you? Do I look like someone who eats roadside food?" Some of Grace's regular customers were starting to stare. She felt embarrassment burning her face, but she kept her voice calm. "Then what do you want?" "I want you to leave Michael alone. He's mine. We were together for 5 years before you came with your poverty and your sad story to trap him." "I didn't trap anybody." "Really?" Victoria moved closer, her expensive perfume filling the air. "Let me tell you something, small girl. Michael comes from a world you will never understand. His family will never accept you. His mother already hates you. I know because I spoke to her this morning. She begged me to come back and save her son from making the biggest mistake of his life." Grace felt tears threatening, but she refused to cry in front of this woman. "If you're so sure he's yours, why are you here threatening me? Why don't you go and tell him yourself?" Victoria's smile disappeared. "You have 2 weeks to break up with him. If you don't, I will destroy you. I will make sure your little food business dies. I will make sure everyone knows you're nothing but a gold digger using jazz to control him. I will make your life so miserable you'll wish you never met Michael." She turned and walked back to her car, leaving Grace standing there shaking with anger and fear. That night, Grace couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Victoria's threats. She kept seeing that perfect face and expensive clothes. She kept hearing those words, "His family will never accept you." When Michael called, she almost didn't answer. But she did, and his voice was warm and concerned. "Grace, I heard Victoria came to see you today. What did she say?" "Nothing important." "Grace, please don't lie to me. What did she say?" Grace closed her eyes. "She said I should leave you. She said your family wants her back. She said she'll destroy me if I don't." The silence on the other end was heavy. Then Michael spoke, his voice harder than she'd ever heard it. "Listen to me carefully. Victoria can't do anything to hurt you. I won't let her. You hear me? I won't let anyone hurt you." But as Grace lay in bed that night, she wondered if love was really enough to fight against people with money, power, and connections. She wondered if she was strong enough for the battle that was coming. The rumors started small. Whispers among the other food sellers. Strange looks from customers. Then one morning, Grace arrived at her cooking spot and found the words "husband snatcher" painted in red across her canopy. Her hands shook as she stared at it. Who did this? Why? Her neighbor, an older woman who sold vegetables nearby, came over quietly. "Grace, I need to tell you something. That light-skinned woman in the red car, she's been coming around asking questions about you. She's been telling people you used charm to catch a rich man. She even paid some people to spread stories." Grace felt sick. Victoria wasn't just threatening. She was actually doing it. She cleaned the paint as best as she could, but the damage was done. Customers who usually came every day stopped coming. People she had known for years started avoiding her. Some even said it openly. "We don't want to eat food cooked by someone using jazz." Her sales dropped by half within a week. Then Emmanuel came home from school crying. Some older boys had beaten him, calling his sister a witch and a husband snatcher. Grace held her brother while he cried and felt something breaking inside her. This wasn't just about her anymore. Her family was suffering because of her relationship with Michael. She tried to be strong. She tried to ignore the whispers and the stares. But then Michael's mother showed up at her cooking area one afternoon, dressed simply and without her driver. "Grace, can we talk?" the woman asked. They sat on the plastic chairs while other sellers watched from a distance. Michael's mother pulled out an envelope from her handbag. "There's 2 million naira in here," she said quietly. "It's yours if you leave my son alone." Grace stared at the envelope like it was a snake. "I don't want your money, Ma. Please, just listen. I know you love him. I can see it. But love is not enough. You're making him lose focus on his business. His ex-fiancée was perfect for him. She understands his world. You're a good girl, but you don't belong in our family. Take this money. Start a proper restaurant somewhere. Make a better life for yourself. But let my son go." "Did Michael send you here?" "No. He doesn't know I came. But I'm his mother. I know what's best for him. Grace stood up slowly, her whole body trembling. Ma, with respect, I cannot take this money. If your son wants to leave me, he should tell me himself. But I won't sell our relationship for any amount. The woman's face hardened. You're making a mistake. You think you're strong, but you have no idea what's coming for you. She left the envelope on the chair and walked away. Grace stared at it for a long moment, then picked it up and ran after her. Ma, please take your money. I don't need it. But the woman was already in her car, driving away. That evening, Michael called Grace excited. Baby, I'm hosting a dinner party this Saturday. Business partners, family friends, everyone important will be there. I want to introduce you officially as my woman. I want everyone to know you're the one I'm going to marry. Grace's heart stopped. Marry? Yes. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of people disrespecting you. It's time to make our relationship official. Grace wanted to say no. Every part of her was screaming that something bad would happen. But she heard the hope in his voice and couldn't break his heart. Okay, she whispered. I'll be there. Saturday came too quickly. Michael sent her money to buy a proper dress and shoes. He sent a car to pick her up. When she arrived at the hotel where the party was held, she felt like she was walking into a trap. The room was full of rich people in expensive clothes. Everyone looked perfect. Everyone looked like they belonged. Everyone except her. Michael held her hand tightly and led her around, introducing her proudly. Some people were polite. Others looked at her like she was dirt. But she held her head high and smiled until her face hurt. Then she saw Victoria across the room, talking to Patricia, Michael's sister. They both looked at her and smiled in a way that made her blood run cold. Michael was called away to greet some important guests. Stay here, I'll be right back, he told her. Grace stood alone, feeling exposed and vulnerable. That's when she heard a woman's voice behind her, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Excuse me, aren't you Grace? Grace Okafor from Enugu. She turned around and saw a woman she had never met before, looking at her with fake surprise. Yes, I'm Grace, but I don't know you. The woman's voice got louder. Oh my God. Everyone, this woman is a fraud. She's married. She has 2 children in the village. I know her husband. She abandoned her family to come to Lagos and trap rich men. The room went silent. Everyone turned to stare. Grace felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. That's a lie, she shouted. I don't have a husband. I don't have children. But then a man pushed through the crowd, leading 2 small children. Grace, Grace, why did you leave us? Why did you abandon your own children? The children started crying, calling her Mama. Grace felt like she was in a nightmare. This couldn't be happening. None of it was real. I don't know these people, she screamed, tears running down her face. Michael, I don't know them. But when she looked for him in the crowd, she saw confusion and doubt on his face. His mother was beside him, whispering urgently in his ear. Patricia was recording everything on her phone, smiling. Victoria stood in the corner, watching the whole scene with satisfaction on her face. Grace couldn't breathe. She couldn't think. She pushed through the crowd and ran out of the hotel, her vision blurred with tears. She heard Michael calling her name, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. She ran until her legs couldn't carry her anymore, then collapsed on the sidewalk outside, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. Her phone rang. It was Michael. She looked at his name on the screen and felt her heart shatter into 1,000 pieces. She couldn't answer. She couldn't face him. Not after what just happened. She sent him a text with shaking fingers. I'm sorry. This is too much. I can't do this anymore. Please don't look for me. Goodbye. Then she turned off her phone and cried until she had no tears left. Michael sat in his office 3 days after the party, staring at his computer screen without seeing anything. He hadn't slept properly since that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Grace's face filled with pain and tears as she ran out of that hotel. He had tried calling her number 100 times, but it was switched off. He went to her cooking spot, but it was abandoned. Her neighbors said they hadn't seen her. It was like she had disappeared from the earth. His mother kept telling him it was for the best. Son, you saw what happened. That girl was lying to you all along. She has a husband and children. Thank God we found out before it was too late. But something didn't feel right. He knew Grace. He had seen her struggle. He had seen her character. The woman he knew wouldn't lie about something like that. He picked up his phone and called his personal investigator. Johnson, I need you to find out everything about what happened at that party. The woman who accused Grace, the man with the children, everything. I want to know who paid them. Yes, sir, I'm already on it. I should have information by tomorrow. Michael leaned back in his chair, his mind racing. Then his phone rang. It was his company's financial director. Sir, we have a problem. There are some irregularities in the accounts. Large amounts of money have been moved without proper authorization. What? How much are we talking about? Over 50 million naira, sir. The transactions have been happening for the past 2 years. Michael felt his blood run cold. Who had access to those accounts? Only 3 people, sir. You, your sister Patricia, and Victoria, sir. Before she left for London, you gave her signing authority, remember? Everything suddenly became clear. Victoria. She had been stealing from his company. And now she was back, trying to destroy his relationship with Grace to distract him from discovering the truth. He stood up so fast his chair fell backwards. Get me all the records. Every transaction. Every document. I want everything on my desk in 1 hour. He called his investigator back. Johnson, forget what I said earlier. I need you to investigate Victoria and my sister Patricia. Look into their finances, their phone records, everything. Sir, your sister. Just do it. Now. By evening, the truth started coming out like poison from a wound. The investigator found that Victoria had paid the woman and the man with the children 50,000 naira each to create that scene at the party. The children weren't even from the village. They were street kids Victoria had picked up and coached to call Grace Mama. But the worst part was yet to come. Patricia had been helping Victoria steal from the company. They had been planning together for months to break up Michael and Grace so he wouldn't notice the missing money. Michael felt sick. His own sister. His blood. How could she do this? He called an emergency family meeting that night. His father, mother, and Patricia all sat in the living room, wondering why he looked so angry. Before I start, he said quietly, I want to ask you one question, Patricia. Where did you get the money to buy that new car last month? Patricia's face went pale. I saved it. You saved it. On the salary I pay you. He threw a folder on the table in front of her. Those are bank statements showing over 20 million naira deposited into your account in the last year. Money that came directly from our company accounts. Money that you and Victoria stole together. Their mother gasped. Their father stood up slowly, his face dark with anger. Michael, I can explain, Patricia started. Explain what? Explain how you betrayed your own family. Explain how you helped Victoria destroy an innocent girl's life just to cover your crimes. Patricia started crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Victoria said it was just borrowing. She said we would return it. I was jealous, okay. I was jealous that Papa made you CEO instead of me. I worked just as hard, but you got everything because you're the son. So you stole from our family business. You destroyed Grace's reputation. You almost destroyed my life. Their father's voice was like thunder. Patricia, you have brought shame to this family. You will return every kobo you took. And you're fired from the company effective immediately. Patricia collapsed on the floor, sobbing. Their mother was crying too, unable to believe what her daughter had done. But Michael didn't stay to watch. He grabbed his car keys and headed for the door. Where are you going? His father asked. To find Grace. To tell her the truth. To beg her to forgive me for doubting her. Son, wait. There's something else you need to know. His father pulled out another folder. Johnson gave me this. It's Grace's medical records. He found them while investigating. Michael opened the folder and felt the world stop. Hospital reports. Dialysis treatments. Kidney disease. Advanced stage. Grace had been sick for months. Maybe years. And she never told him. His hands shook as he read the doctor's notes. Patient needs urgent kidney transplant. Without it, life expectancy is less than 2 years. Oh God, he whispered. She knew. She knew she was dying and she never told me. Now everything made sense. Why she tried to push him away at first. Why she was so afraid to accept his love. She wasn't trying to trap him. She was trying to protect him from the pain of losing her. Michael felt tears running down his face for the first time since he was a child. He looked at his father. I have to find her. I have to tell her I'm not leaving. I don't care if she's sick. I don't care about anything except being with her. His father nodded. Then go. Go and bring her home. Grace sat in the small clinic waiting room, staring at the white walls and trying not to think about the test results the doctor was about to give her. She had been feeling weaker lately, more tired. Her body was giving up and she knew it. After running away from the party, she had gone back to her village to stay with her aunt. She stopped selling food. She stopped answering calls from the few friends she had. She just wanted to disappear quietly. But her body wouldn't let her disappear quietly. The pain got worse. The tiredness became unbearable. So here she was, back in Lagos, sitting in a free clinic waiting to hear how much time she had left. Grace Okafor, the nurse called. She stood up slowly and walked into the doctor's office. The doctor was an older woman with kind eyes, but her face was serious. Grace, I'll be honest with you. Your kidneys are failing faster than we expected. You need a transplant urgently. Without it, you have maybe 6 months. Maybe less. 6 months. Grace nodded slowly like the doctor had just told her the weather report. She had known this was coming. She had been preparing herself. How much does a transplant cost? She asked, even though she already knew the answer would be impossible. Between 5 to 8 million naira, depending on the hospital. Plus you need to find a matching donor. Grace almost laughed. 5 million naira. She couldn't even find 50,000 naira right now. Her savings were gone. Her business was destroyed. She had nothing left. Thank you, doctor, she said quietly, standing to leave. Grace, wait. Don't give up. There are organizations that help people. Thank you, she repeated and walked out. She was halfway down the street when she heard someone calling her name. She turned around and her heart stopped. Michael was running toward her, his face desperate and full of pain. Grace, please, don't run. Please just listen to me. She wanted to run. She wanted to disappear. But her body was too weak and her heart was too tired of running. He stopped in front of her, breathing hard. I know everything. I know about Victoria and Patricia. I know they paid those people to lie about you. I know it was all planned to destroy us. Grace, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I doubted you even for a second. Tears filled her eyes. It doesn't matter anymore, Michael. Just let me go. It matters to me. He grabbed her hands gently. Grace, I know about your sickness too. I know you're sick and you need a transplant. Why didn't you tell me? She pulled her hands away, crying now. Because I didn't want this. I didn't want you to stay with me out of pity. I didn't want to be your burden. Don't you understand? I'm dying, Michael. I'm dying and there's nothing anyone can do about it. You're not dying, he shouted, his own tears falling now. I won't let you die. We'll find a donor. We'll get the best doctors. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care what we have to do. You're not leaving me. Why? She screamed back at him. Why do you want to stay with a dying woman? Why do you want to watch me suffer? Find someone healthy. Find someone from your world. Find someone who can give you a future. Because I love you. His voice broke completely. I love you, Grace. Not because you're healthy or sick. Not because you're rich or poor. I love you because you're you. You're the strongest, most beautiful person I've ever met. And I would rather have 6 months with you than a lifetime with anyone else. Grace covered her face with her hands and sobbed. All the pain, all the fear, all the loneliness she had been carrying came pouring out. Michael pulled her into his arms and held her tight while she cried. I'm not leaving you, he whispered. I'm never leaving you. We're going to fight this together. You hear me? Together. They stood there on the street, holding each other while people passed by and stared. But neither of them cared about anything except each other. Finally, Grace pulled back and looked at him with red, swollen eyes. Michael, I can't afford a transplant. I can't even afford my medication anymore. What future do we have? Let me worry about the money. Right now, I just need you to come home with me. Please, let me take care of you. Your family hates me. My father loves you. And my mother, she's going to learn to love you too. Patricia will pay for what she did. Victoria is going to jail. It's just us now. Please, Grace, come home. She looked at him for a long moment, seeing the love and determination in his eyes. She was so tired of fighting, so tired of being strong alone. "Okay," she finally whispered. "Okay." He smiled through his tears and kissed her forehead gently. Then he picked up her bag and led her to his car. As they drove away, Grace leaned her head against the window and closed her eyes. She didn't know how long she had left. She didn't know if love would be enough to save her. But for the first time in months, she felt a small seed of hope planted in her dying heart. Maybe, just maybe, miracles still happened. Grace's condition got worse quickly. Within 3 weeks of moving into Michael's house, she could barely walk without help. Her skin turned pale. Her eyes lost their brightness. She spent most days in bed, too weak to do anything except breathe. Michael hired the best doctors in Lagos. They ran tests, gave her medication, put her on a strict diet. But everyone knew the truth. Without a kidney transplant, she was going to die. "We've tested everyone," the doctor told Michael in his office while Grace slept upstairs. "You're not a match. Your father isn't a match. We've checked the donor registry, but finding a match takes time, and Grace doesn't have much time left." Michael felt helpless for the first time in his life. He had money. He had connections. He had everything except the one thing that could save the woman he loved. He went back upstairs and sat beside Grace's bed, holding her thin hand. She opened her eyes slowly and smiled at him, that same beautiful smile that made him fall in love with her. "You should be at work," she whispered. "Work can wait. You're more important." "Michael, I need to tell you something." Her voice was so weak he had to lean close to hear. When I die, I want you to promise me you'll take care of Emmanuel and Blessing. Make sure they finish school. Make sure they have good lives. Stop talking like that. You're not dying. Please, promise me." He couldn't speak. He just nodded, tears running down his face. That evening, there was a knock on the door. Michael opened it and froze. Patricia stood there, looking smaller and older than he remembered. Her eyes were red like she had been crying for days. "What do you want?" His voice was cold. "I need to talk to you. Please, Michael. Just 5 minutes." He didn't want to let her in, but something about her face made him step aside. They sat in the living room, the same place where their family used to laugh and eat together before everything fell apart. "I know you hate me," Patricia began, her voice shaking. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. What I did was evil. I was jealous and stupid, and I let Victoria manipulate me. I destroyed an innocent girl's life because of my own bitterness. If you came here for forgiveness, you're wasting your time. I didn't come for forgiveness." She looked up at him with tears streaming down her face. "I came to save Grace's life." Michael's heart stopped. "What are you talking about?" "I got tested. I'm a match. My kidney can save her." The room went completely silent. Michael couldn't breathe. He stared at his sister like she was speaking a foreign language. You're a match." "Yes. The doctor confirmed it yesterday. I know I'm the last person you want help from. I know Grace probably hates me. But Michael, I can't live with myself knowing I destroyed her life. This is the only way I can make things right. Let me give her my kidney. Please." Michael covered his face with his hands. He didn't know what to feel. Anger, relief, confusion, hope, all mixed together until he couldn't tell them apart. "Why would you do this?" he asked. "You tried to destroy her." Patricia's voice broke. "Because I'm not a monster, even though I acted like one. When I heard she was dying, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing her face at that party, crying and running away. I kept hearing Mama pray for me every night because she's so ashamed of what I did. Michael, I want to be the sister you used to be proud of. I want to be the daughter Papa raised. And the only way to do that is to save the woman you love." Michael stood up and paced the room, his mind racing. Could he trust her? What if this was another trick? But when he looked at Patricia's face, he saw something he hadn't seen in years. He saw his little sister, the one who used to follow him around when they were children, the one who cried when he went away to university. "Does Grace know?" "No. I wanted to tell you first. If she says no, I'll understand. But Michael, please let me try to fix what I broke." Before he could answer, they heard a sound from the stairs. Grace was standing there, holding the railing for support, her face pale but her eyes clear. "I heard everything," she said quietly. Patricia stood up quickly. Grace, why would you do this for me? Grace interrupted. After everything you did. Why? Patricia walked closer, tears falling freely now. Because you didn't deserve what I did to you. Because my brother loves you more than anything in this world. Because I'm tired of being a bad person. Grace, I know saying sorry isn't enough. I know I can never take back the pain I caused you. But if giving you my kidney can save your life, then maybe I can start becoming someone worthy of forgiveness. Grace was quiet for a long moment. Everyone held their breath, waiting. Then she spoke, her voice soft but firm. I accept. Patricia gasped. What? I accept your kidney. Not because I forgive you. Not yet. But because I want to live. I want to marry the man I love. I want to see my brother and sister grow up. So yes, I accept. Patricia broke down completely, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. Thank you. Thank you, Grace. I promise I'll spend the rest of my life making this right. Michael pulled Grace into his arms gently, holding her like she was made of glass. His sister was going to save his woman's life. The sister who tried to destroy them was now going to be the reason they could have a future together. God worked in mysterious ways indeed. 6 months after the successful transplant, Grace stood in front of the mirror in a white wedding dress, barely recognizing the healthy, glowing woman staring back at her. Her cheeks had color again. Her eyes were bright. Her smile was real. You look beautiful, sister, Blessing said, adjusting the veil carefully. Emmanuel stood beside her in his new suit, trying not to cry. Sister Grace, I'm so happy. I thought we were going to lose you. Grace hugged them both tight. You'll never lose me. Never. The wedding was happening at the same roadside spot where she used to sell rice and beans. Michael's idea. He had transformed the entire area into a beautiful outdoor venue with white chairs, flowers, and a canopy decorated with lights. The community had come out in full force. Her old customers, her neighbors, the motorcycle taxi riders who used to tease her, everyone was there. But Michael had also invited his business partners, his wealthy friends, and high society people, poor and rich, all sitting together to celebrate love. Grace's aunt, who had raised her after her parents died, was crying happy tears. My daughter, you have suffered so much. Today, God has wiped away all your tears. When the music started, Grace walked down the makeshift aisle with Emmanuel holding one arm and Blessing holding the other. Michael stood at the front wearing a white traditional outfit, looking at her like she was the only person in the world. His father stood beside him as best man, smiling proudly. His mother sat in the front row, and though her face was still a bit stiff, she nodded respectfully at Grace. It wasn't love yet, but it was acceptance, and that was enough for now. Patricia sat further back, watching quietly. She had lost weight and looked tired, but there was peace in her eyes that hadn't been there before. The kidney donation had saved Grace's life, but somehow it had also saved Patricia's soul. She was slowly rebuilding her relationship with the family, proving through actions that she had truly changed. Victoria was nowhere to be seen. She was in prison, facing charges for theft and fraud. Justice had finally caught up with her. When Grace reached Michael, he took her hands and whispered, "You made it. You're here. You're alive." "We made it," she corrected him softly. The pastor smiled at them. "We are gathered here today to witness a miracle. Not just the miracle of love, but the miracle of second chances, forgiveness, and God's perfect timing." He led them through the vows. When it was Michael's turn, he didn't just repeat the pastor's words. He spoke from his heart. "Grace, when I met you, I didn't know I was meeting my destiny. I thought I was just buying rice and beans. But God knew what I needed. He brought me to your roadside spot because he knew I needed someone real, someone strong, someone who would teach me that wealth isn't measured in money but in character. You've changed my life in ways I can't even explain. And I promise you, from this day until my last breath, I will love you, protect you, and honor you." Grace was crying now. "Michael, I was afraid to love you because I thought I didn't deserve you. I thought my poverty, my sickness, my struggles made me unworthy. But you taught me that love doesn't see class or status. Love just sees the heart. You saved my life in more ways than one. And I promise to spend every day proving that your love was not wasted on me. I now pronounce you husband and wife," the pastor declared. "You may kiss your bride." The crowd erupted in cheers and applause as Michael kissed her gently. Poor and rich, young and old, everyone celebrated together. At the reception, Michael made an announcement that shocked everyone. Grace and I have decided to turn her roadside cooking spot into something bigger. We're opening a restaurant called Grace's Kitchen. But it's not just any restaurant. Half of the profits will go to helping young people who are struggling to pay for school or medical bills. Because we never want anyone to feel the hopelessness that Grace felt. And Grace will be the CEO. The applause was deafening. Grace stood up, overwhelmed with emotion. I want to say something, she said, her voice shaking. To everyone who looked down on me, who thought I wasn't good enough, who said a roadside food seller couldn't marry a billionaire, thank you. Thank you for doubting me. Because every doubt made me stronger. Every insult made me fight harder. And today, I stand here not as someone who trapped a rich man, but as someone who earned love through character, hard work, and faith in God. She turned to Patricia, who was sitting quietly at the back. And to you, Patricia, I want to say this publicly. You almost destroyed me. But you also saved me. I'm choosing to remember the woman who gave me her kidney, not the woman who tried to ruin my life. You're family now. Real family. Patricia stood up, tears streaming down her face, and bowed her head in respect. Michael's father raised his glass. I want to tell all the young people here something. I started my life selling pure water on the street. Today I'm a billionaire. Grace started her life selling rice and beans by the road. Today she's married to my son and will run her own business. Your beginning doesn't determine your ending. Your character, your faith, and your hard work will take you places money cannot buy. As the sun set over the celebration, Grace and Michael danced slowly while everyone watched. She leaned her head on his chest and closed her eyes. Are you happy? He whispered. I'm more than happy, she replied. I'm blessed. God took my pain and turned it into purpose. He took my tears and turned them into testimony. He took my nothing and made it into everything. Michael held her tighter. This is just the beginning, Grace. We have a whole lifetime ahead of us. And as the stars came out above them, lighting up the same roadside where their story began, everyone watching knew they had witnessed something rare and beautiful. They had witnessed proof that true love really does conquer all, that kindness defeats evil, that second chances are real, and that sometimes the greatest blessings come wrapped in the most unexpected packages. Grace's journey from a struggling food seller to a billionaire's wife wasn't just a love story. It was a reminder that God sees everyone, no matter how small or forgotten they feel. And when the time is right, He lifts the humble and gives them a crown. Dear viewers, what lessons did you learn from this dramatic story? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, turn on notifications you never miss our new videos. Thank you for watching, and stay blessed.